insight is into the process of role being updated and the changes that are happening to role?
Pardon me. You want to know about my background and my relation to all the story, or should I jump in the subject you've mentioned?
So maybe a little bit of your background would be helpful for me to better target my questions.
Okay, great. Well, I'm a civil engineer with master in economics and MBA. I've worked as a director of the ANS for 3 years, where I had contact with all the regulation concerning the health plans insurance in Brazil. And during that time, we made some small changes in the process of the hall. Regarding the subject itself, I see it as a technology assessment process which is still very unstructured, not very well structured in Brazil in general. We don't have an agency like the NICE in UK or the agency in US that properly does economic evaluations and the cost benefit analysis on the technology products for health. Our process begins with the law, and in the private sector, where I understand you are most interested in, what makes insurance companies in Brazil to that makes it mandatory for insurance plans in Brazil to offer some kind of services is everything that ANS puts in the hall. But before that, you have the law. And the law says that all diseases from CID 100 must be covered. Right? So the law talks about diseases, not about products nor procedures. So that's the first thing. Based on that, ANS, and also the law gives to ANS the power to regulate over that mandate of the law. ANS has made a first list like 10, 12 years ago, and it has been reassessing that list, that hall, from time to time. Before the time I spent there in ANS, it was done in an ongoing basis. Most of the time it was a yearly basis. Or sometimes it's with spans with more than 2-3 years. So it was not structured the timing of adding new technologies to the list. After that, I worked there, we implemented a biannual assessment, right? But still, we were not able at that time to structure it better, really, in the sense that other agencies do abroad. So even though now at least we have more, we have some, how can I say, we have more previsibility on the issue of new products and services, etc., for the market as a whole. The process of assessing those technologies is still very ad hoc. So, and the process follows no workflow, you know. What has been done recently was the creation of the CoSaúde, which is a committee of that's formed by ANS and other actors, which does not include industry, right? it has recently changed a little bit, and I talk about that. But they have meetings where the health plans come up with presentations, PowerPoint presentations, like fighting against the inclusion of a drug, for example, they believe would be in the pipeline for approval. And the doctors represented by AMB can defend it based on the information they gather from the industry in general. So from talking about the actors that participate in CoSaúde, the only way the producers can vocalize, can say about their products is through the medical associations, right? Sometimes through consumers, but they are not very strong on doing that. The medical associations are stronger on doing that. They're better informed about that. And that has been like this since 3 months ago, where Interpharma, which is the industry association for innovative drugs, has entered as a member of the CoSaúde after insisting a lot. So now Interpharma has a seat on the CoSaúde, but it's still, they are not able to bring industry directly into the meetings, you know. They're trying to do that, but it's not regulated yet.
So when you have these meetings between the health insurance companies and the doctors where they're discussing the pros and cons of incorporating a new product, who decides which product they will be speaking about that day? So does the health insurance need to bring up a product, or can the doctors bring up a product?
Well, first of all, there is no process of pre-selection of technologies that's going to be assessed. So it's a run to convince CoSaúde on the pros and cons of the implementation of that drug in the role, and the presentations follow the first that asked to present something they can present, and there's no structure in this preselection of drugs that are presented to CoSaúde. The final decision belongs to ANS, to the board of directors of ANS. So CoSaúde, after 1 year and a half of discussion, they bring all the material and they make opinion. The ANS, the representative of CoSaúde that belongs to ANS, which is the director of one of the directors. They, after the discussion, they sum up saying, we will incorporate those drugs, or we will accept those procedures to be in the mandatory hall. Not always they are very well fundamented. They can like fundament it very well, and most of the times they don't say anything about those products that had been discussed but are not included in the list. So they make a final report, CoSaúde. The members of CoSaúde can make some opinion on that, but in the end, the decision belongs to the board of directors, and they are fed by this report made from one of the directories of ANS. So that's the way it works. Oh, before the final decision, there is a public consultation, which normally is the period where the industry can put some inputs on it, which is it takes like 1 or 2 months. So it's not enough for really bring materials and evidences on the discussions. It's just something to justify something just to justify